Hello fellow brawlers, I'm Kairos Time and it is time to brawl. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Sneak Peeks number 3, C, B, A? I don't know which one this is, whatever you're watching here, but I do have other videos that I just barely released on Penny and Frank, the new brawlers, as well as on the new Trophy League system. So as soon as you are done with this video, make sure you head over to those videos so you do not miss out. Now before we get started, I will say that the gameplay in this video is all from the old build. It was either doing that from the old build or playing against bots, and bots just are boring, so that's what we decided to go with. Let's go ahead and have a quick flash to see what the balance changes are before we get talking into the specifics. Notice it says May 18. That is actually supposed to be May 2018, not May 18th. I know that's confusing. I'm sorry. Anyways guys, let's go ahead and jump right into this. We're going to start off by talking about Crow. He's getting a nerf to his super where it now takes 8 daggers plus poison instead of 6 daggers plus poison to get to that point where he can actually activate his super. That is a 33% nerf to the charging speed of his super. I think that this will really help tone Crow down a little bit. I feel like he's just been really strong, and part of the reason why is because his super is really oppressive. He just lands on you, and if he directly lands on you, I don't know if you guys know this, but it does 7,000 damage if all of his daggers hit you, and that is just insane damage. Most of the time that does not happen. Mostly you're lucky if you're playing Crow to actually land 3 daggers on a person, but still you guys get the idea. I still think that he may need a little bit of a nerf after this, but we'll go ahead and let time tell that. The other time, not Kairos time. Up next we have Colt, where his main attack reload time is actually being increased from 1.5 seconds to 1.6 seconds. This means that it takes longer for him to reload. This is a 7% nerf to that reload speed. Colt is one of those brawlers where I feel like he was borderline top tier in almost every single game mode. Like some game modes, he wasn't really the best in every single game mode, but he was really close. You could play him in almost anything, and I think that this is going to help kind of differentiate him a little bit between Rico and just kind of overall make him feel a little bit more well-rounded. Next we have Dynamike, who is actually going to receive a nerf. They're kind of taking away the buff that he had in the last patch, where his main attack and super projectile speed is going to be decreased by 5%, which obviously is a 5% nerf to the move speed of his shots. I am really excited for this. If you talk to anybody that plays with me consistently, you know that I have been having a hard time with Dynamite recently. I felt like it was a little bit too easy to land shots with Dynamite, and because he does so much damage if both those Dynamite sticks land on you, it was really hard to deal with unless you either had a Dynamite or a Crow. And if you didn't have either of those, then you're really going to struggle. I still think he's going to be strong in a lot of different matches and maps, but not quite as strong and impressive as he was. Up last for the nerf list, we have Ricochet, whose main attack and super damage is going to be decreased from 320 down to 300 damage per shot. That's a 6% nerf to both his regular attack and his super. Ricochet has been extremely strong. I would still honestly like to see a width of his actual shots actually decrease a little bit, but the fact that he's going to receive a damage nerf is actually really helpful, and that's going to be really beneficial. We've seen nerfs to the 4 main powerhouses that have had a chokehold on the meta recently: Crow, Colt, Dynamike, and Ricochet, and that has basically influenced the meta so that tanks could not do anything, and I think now it's going to be a little bit easier for other brawlers to shine. I still think these 4 DPS brawlers are still going to be pretty useful, but once again, I think it's going to allow other brawlers to kind of pop up into the meta a bit. Maybe about time to start leveling up my Mortis. Up next, we have the buff list, starting off with Barley, who is receiving an increase in his main attack damage per tick from 560 damage up to 600 damage, and that is a 7% buff per each tick, which does happen twice per shot. So if you're landing your shots very well and you get 2 ticks on there, that's going to deal a ton of damage. I felt like with Barley it was a little bit more difficult for you to actually land shots, and it wasn't rewarding enough once you actually did land those shots, and now I feel like that's going to be a little bit better for him. Next we have Daryl, who's receiving a decrease in his main reload speed from 2 seconds down to 1.8 seconds. This is a 10% buff to that reload speed, which means that it's going to be easier for you to actually land shots more frequently with Daryl. It's not going to be so difficult for you to actually miss a shot, and that's really nice. This isn't a huge buff, but it is going to help him survive a little bit longer, maybe even differentiate him between Bull a little bit more. Next on the buff list is Poco, who has really been struggling. He's receiving an increase in his main attack damage from 640 up to 700, which is a 9% buff to his attack power. I'm really excited to see this buff for Poco, specifically because it was just a little bit difficult for him to find a really good spot in the last meta. I think the tanks are going to come more into the meta a little bit more. I think Poco will have a little bit better of position, and that attack buff should actually help him to be able to actually add to the offense line as well. Last on the buff list, we've got Shelly, who's receiving an increased health from 3,200 to 3,600. This is a 13% buff to Shelly's health, and that is just crazy. Out of all of the shotgunners in the game right now, she is by far the squishiest, and now I feel like it's going to be a little bit easier for her to get up close and personal to people. Now, I think she's going to be a little bit more versatile, as well as be able to get into position so that she can actually deal some damage. Okay guys, now before we finish this video, I wanted to briefly go over the fixes that are happening to the game. And then I'm going to end with talking about auto-aim nerf a little bit, okay? So first of all, auto-aim is going to always fire when no target is in range. We already knew that, okay? Also, auto-aim now is going to target through skulls, vases, and other breakable things that it wasn't doing before. They're also going to decrease the spawn invulnerability from 4 seconds down to 3 seconds, which will be really interesting to see how that influences things. Also, Jessie, if she has a star power, it will now auto-aim her damaged turret, if that's the closest option around her, which is really nice. Poco with a star power is going to auto-aim damaged teammates when enemies are not available. Spike's star power is now going to auto-super himself if no enemies are available and he is damaged. Spike's spikes are also no longer going to go through fences and walls like they used to do, and Bull can no longer charge through indestructible tiles if there's water on the other side, which we saw a little bit in Robo Rumble. Okay guys, now let's talk about auto-aim. I will say, the last time I was talking about auto-aim, I just had this theory of how auto-aim would feel now that it would just always fire when the target is ranged. And I will be honest, I feel it feels like a bigger nerf to me as somebody who has been using auto-aim as a handicap than I originally thought it would. I thought it was going to be like, oh yeah, I'm just in the bushes and I'm not going to spam auto-aim. Or, hey, I'm Piper, I'm just not going to spam auto-aim at max distance. I felt like those were like the two circumstances where it would be a nerf to auto-aim, and then other times it wouldn't really matter. I've got to be honest, guys. I actually really feel like this is a pretty good nerf to auto-aim. Like, I don't know if it's enough. I will say that. I want auto-aim to be strong enough to help new players in the get into the game, but not so strong that it's actually finding its way into competitive gameplay a ton. And I still feel like this might still may be making its way into competitive gameplay. Like me, I would consider myself like a pretty good player. I'm not the best, but I'm not the worst. I mean, you guys have seen my matches, right? Not the best, not the worst. Pretty good. And for me, I didn't realize that I was using auto-aim a ton, but now after actually having tried the game and actually playing around with the auto-aim nerf, it feels like I'm wasting shots all the time. And in circumstances that I didn't really think that I would. So, for example, like, if somebody's going around a corner, I would really frequently, I'd like come around the corner and then like, I'd be spamming auto-aim and just barely come around the corner and like just do a shot, right? Well, now that actually doesn't work out, and there's been tons of times playing on the dev build where I've been like underestimating how far out I need to be, and so I like come out and then I spam auto aim and I shoot right into the wall and I waste my shots and I'm in a poor position. Like stuff like that I just didn't even think about, or all of the time I thought that I had a really good understanding of the distance that each brawler had and range and things like that. After playing this, I found out that I actually don't have those instilled into my how well I play as well as I thought that I did. I'm realizing now that I was relying a lot on auto aim, and now I kind of have to get rid of that crutch. So overall, I'm actually really excited about this change. Once again, I don't know if it's enough, but you guys will definitely want to try that out and feel it. It feels way better. I feel like it's actually punishing now if you're using auto aim too much now, and I really like that a lot. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Once again, there are other sneak peek videos that I just released on Penny and Frank, the new brawlers, as well as the new Trophy League system, so make sure you guys check those out. For now, this is Kairos Time ticking by, and we will see you in the update.